announcement. And then I was like, right, well, I better go get my last Boost juice before it freaking closes down for a week. So I walked out, and then like I was like, oh yeah, there's a line for Coles slowly forming. And I got my Boost, and I came back, and it was almost out into the car park. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, people.
And not just that, it's you're running out of stock and stuff already and that sort of thing, right? So I think some of them closed.
Why are people buying bog rolls?
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't make you vanity shit.
5 days.
That was so last year, Ben.
Do the preparation.
I know.
We already went through that.
No, I just talked to my family in America, and they knew about Perth too.
I should have said I have actually just put the record button on, but Ben's expletive wasn't too bad. It's no dramas. So how about we get on going? What I was going to say too, because just for next week, no state of plays from here on in. So what I would ask, if we can if we could start at 15:15, we'll just do still open networking from 10:15 on Mondays, and then it's a bit earlier for you, Ben, I know. 7:15 your time, I guess. And then we will go till we'll definitely be done by 11:45. So, but it will be a sort of an hour and a half meeting, just because I want to sort of touch off on the things that we would have otherwise touched off in a state of play. If that sound okay?
Yeah.
So from next week, if we can do that, that'd be awesome. All right. So let me share screen. And Adrian told me, and I think, Adrian told me whose turn it was this week, and I think they've been forewarned.
Yes, they have. So should I start with, we acknowledge that we are on traditional lands of the Kulin Nation. We offer our respects to the owners of these traditional lands, and through them to all Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islander peoples, past and present.
Cool.
That's the first time I've done that.
Well, that's good that you're doing that, and welcome. Welcome to country.
Yeah.
Just on that, because this does change a little bit, just to point out. So essentially, whenever we got either special guest presenters, or even if we so Adrian's got a presentation at the end of February, so he'll do a presentation, but he'll do it at the start of the meeting. So rather than replicating this same information twice, it would just be that Adrian, in 2 weeks' time, would do his presentation in advance of his BNI presentation, and that way we don't get the same information twice, if that makes sense. And then the other thing is, as I said, because because no state of play, will just make the back half of the meeting will be more like state of play. So it's just what we're going to call it, like a learning zone sort of thing. If you've seen one of those TED Talks this week, you'll kind of understand what that's about, but we'll talk about that later on today. So yeah, slightly different, but not too much different.
Okay, so the DIFY social mission, purpose, and values. So our mission is to protect, build, and grow businesses using social media and marketing, and our purpose is to gain competitive advantages to attract and retain more customers and to keep everyone top of mind. My personal favorite is always innovation, but today I'll mix it up. I'll go with community. I think community is the most important part to establishing yourself, anywhere. It's important to feel that you have others to speak with, others to rely on, and people who just, make you feel included.
And I think you were saying it's your 1 year anniversary, wasn't it?
It was on the last Friday.
Yeah, there you go.
1 year anniversary in Australia.
And it's never, I've had this conversation, and you realize it more and more, but I've been in Melbourne more than 12 years now, I think 13 maybe. It's kind of funny. So it's always never easy, right? Creating new community. So building it step by step, it's never easy. So, and particularly in a time of COVID. I was saying it, my wife and I recognize that we're on nobody's top 15 list in Melbourne. If you know what I mean, okay. because most of your tight community tends to be family and friends, and ones you grew up with. So it's tough. So kudos to you, Emily, for your first year and growing your community here in Australia as well.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you with us.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
All right. So our DIFY objectives. Again, we want to attract and retain customers. So we protect your brand. We differentiate you from your competitors. We encourage you to be top of mind with your target communities and increase your business development opportunities and explore your audience's interests and inquiries. Read it like 1,000 times. Still never easier. Okay. So DIFY Social offers all our services as products, and because we believe in being transparent, the prices for all of these are listed on our website. We offer audits, audit and consult. Oh my God, what else do we offer? A setup and planning session, and then 3 different sizes of social media management programming.
Albeit that we don't have any on small to medium at the minute. Well, we have.
Oh, really?
When we do get that question, actually, sometimes around small to medium, it's you might have heard me sort of say we used to do it with the behavioural optometrist because effectively we were talking to 2 different audiences. So in the morning we'd post about for the child that needs to get their eye tested, and in the afternoon we'd be posting for the professional. When's the next convention? When's the next training opportunities? What's the latest, information, that sort of stuff. So that just, if you ever get that by way of an example, because in the main, particularly with Facebook now, posting more than once even isn't necessarily that advantageous per day. So posting twice, the only reason we tend to do it now is for where we've got 2 very different target audiences that we would be posting to. That's all. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So just so you guys know that.
This is another one that never gets easier, no matter how many times you read it. Okay. So this is our DIFY Social strategic model. In our first right or upper left-hand box, we have our small business house. So essentially, social media will not help a weak business. It will just help it fail faster. So you need to have a strong foundation in your house when it comes to your strategy and your website. And we then would take that to improve your traffic online. So in our second box right below, it's important to know that we will look at both your rivals and your competitors and your network to see how to better promote you. And it's important to notice that your prospects and your customers will be almost identical. Next, we will take a look at your website, and it's important that you keep your social icons on the top of your website so it's easy to find, because we have learned to read websites from the top left across the right and then down. So the 4 social platforms we work with are LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then we just optimize your Google My Business and YouTube to help with your SEO. I can't really read the numbers there, but in the 4th box, I believe there are 50 or less than 35% of small businesses in Australia have social media strategy. I really can't read that.
So it's less than 50% have social media present,
Okay.
and less than 30 have ever advertised. And then 13% have a strategy only. So yeah, sorry about those being very small.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm wearing my glasses today too.
And then probably the main thing probably just to point out here is that we use a particular strategy with the idea about getting, it was, I don't know if any of you saw, but in terms of, we spoke about last week in our one-to-ones, trying to really let people know that what would it mean in 2021 if tens of thousands of people are getting to see your posts every month, and hundreds are engaging with them, and then hundreds more are going through to your website. What does that mean? What would it mean to your website? Because I think, to your business, because ultimately that's why people engage us. That's not just because they like us and because we're part of their network. Effectively, they want more visibility. What do they say? Visibility, credibility, profitability, right? So it's all about what would thousands more people seeing your communications mean to your business. And then, that opportunity beyond that. So, because the reality is, if ultimately they don't sell it, they don't sell more of stuff, or they don't retain more business, well, then they do move on. It's just the reality. So if getting tens of thousands of more people seeing it and hundreds more people going through the website doesn't actually sell more for them, ultimately they'll say, well, I tried it. And I think maybe I could just have maintenance. You know what I mean? So but that's the reality. So is the return on investment. Now that might not be because of social media, but at the end of the day, it's just the hard commercial reality. Awesome. Cool. So as I said, what we'll do with those ones, I think, Hannah, you're up next. I think, Adrian, is that correct? We got alphabetical in Brisbane.
Yeah, I was working it out before and going, just before Hayley. So, yeah.
All right, so I was grieving last week, so I actually created this slide, and so it's not easy being in business and part of DIFY Social, and it's certainly not easy when we lose people in DIFY Social. I've told you guys I really dislike losing clients. I don't like losing marketers either, particularly my best ones. I guess I put this on here, in a way, um, well, firstly, is an opportunity for Hayley to let us know what's happening. But secondly, what I wanted to sort of say is that, what is happening, we know we're 6 months, 7 months into this journey now, right? And what is happening is, I think, is there's, some real good opportunities being created, not just for us, but for the marketers clearly that have been part of the journey with us as well. So, Hayley, your time to share. What are you up to? What's happened?
Yeah, okay. Well, some news. I got offered a role for a big advertising agency in Melbourne. So yeah, I took the job. It wasn't really something I could decline at the moment, unfortunately, but yeah, I wish you guys all the best, and I'm sure we'll stay in contact. And yeah, it's all my social media. I'm sure I'll keep up with Diffy and what's going on, but it probably won't be the last you hear from me, and vice versa. So that's it. That's the go.
What's it going to look like? Are you starting next Monday?
Yeah, so I start next Monday. So my actual role is an account exec. It'll just be, our main client's going to be Specsavers. So whenever you see a Specsavers ad, that'll be me, pretty much, and my team. But yeah, exciting.
I mentioned behavioural optometrists before. They really dislike Specsavers. The cut and burn of Specsavers. Actually, there's a guy that used to come along to the direct marketing forum from Specsavers, because what they're really good at doing is all of the direct marketing campaigns and all that sort of stuff. I use them, so I get my that many letters telling me that I need to do an eye test, that sort of thing. So
yeah, so they do like a lot of big accounts, so like Targets. I can't think now. Spotlight, Catch of the Day. So all their campaigns on TV, radio, digital. Yeah, that's done by where I'm going, which is exciting. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you'll go very well. Thank you for applying yourself in the way you have. We're very you are very quick to pick up on things and being able to do things and that sort of stuff. And I'm sure you'll be a real asset for.
I'm not ready to adult yet, Steve. I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, so that's well, yeah, that's right. So it'll be good. So what do you think? What's the one thing you'll miss most? Well, and don't say just Monday mornings, because that's not even true. Nobody likes Monday mornings, but.
What am I going to miss the most? I don't know. Like I personally have enjoyed like the whole process. I think I'm going to miss probably like you guys the most. Obviously, when we all came together, it was the middle of a pandemic. So yeah, you guys and I had just come back from overseas, so you guys were pretty much the only people I saw on a regular basis. And yeah, like I said, I think you did a great job to form like a community within the team and making sure everyone felt supported, and like we had a base. And yeah, I think all of you are really great people, obviously. And yeah, it was good to see you every week and kind of got me through lockdown, so thanks.
Awesome. Anybody else have any words for Hayley?
Oh God.
I just agree. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we'll miss you.
Yeah.
I'm always around, guys.
Congrats.
You can watch my
congrats.
Instagram posts.
Ben had to turn his mic and his camera off because he was really he was beside himself.
I was an office space, Hayley.
Right, it's all right. We'll
Have
stay in
you
contact.
told your B&I yet?
No, I don't yet. Not yet.
Yeah, so I think what we might, so we'll look at, I'm depending on how scarred Anthony feels from his B&I process so far, is basically Anthony might go along to B&I this week and have a look. it is a good group. I mean, they're a friendly mob. Would that be fair to say, Hayley? They're not.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
They're definitely they're really nice people. They're just very different to myself.
Yeah, well, that's right. So I guess in terms of, and certainly, and we
Anthony
knew
was
that was always going to be
friendly.
that's the biggest challenge for, I think, particularly for you guys, because that's probably the less of my challenge, because effectively for me, they're kind of, they're Peter and Peters, right? At the end of the day, which Peter and Peters for you guys is mum and dad. So I guess that's part of the issue, isn't it? Then, at least Anthony has a beard and moustache though, so
Yeah,
he's
he'll slot
passable.
right in. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
so they are, yeah. So again, it's more that sense of, it's like anything really. If they give Anthony the love, and Anthony feels the love and feels like reciprocating, we'll see how we go from there. But we'll work that out. We'll talk about that this week in any case. So we'll probably need to do that sooner rather than later, given it is a Wednesday morning meet.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What did people think of that that effort on that slide? Pretty good.
That was
Yeah,
pretty
it looks
funny.
good.
Yeah, it's great.
Took me quite a bit of time. All right, that's good. All right, so I don't probably have to spend too much more time on this slide, other than the thing is when we talk doing our one-to-ones, me and Adrian were just doing it this morning. One thing that I want you to, we're all, you guys are givers, right? Ultimately, we talk about givers gain. I think in our one-to-ones, I want to just at least talk about gaining. So we need to be just aware of, okay, if we've given so many referrals, are we receiving any referrals back, right? So this week when we do our one-to-ones, it'd just be good to sort of get the stat from you. What's it say? How many referrals have you received from people in the chapter, and are they good referrals? That sort of thing. So start talking about our process for when we receive referrals, and are we getting them? I guess that's the main thing, right? So, I sort of feel like, with Hayley departing, there is that element of, we've had an incredible sort of learning period of six months. The next 6 months is going to be equally important around learning and takeaways of how this model goes realistically. So yeah. So part of it, a big part of it really is, are we getting referrals? And so we just need to keep talking about that and how that's going and how you're finding it. And as Hayley said, and as I mentioned with Andy, you've got to feel comfortable within the business networks that you're part of, and obviously it needs to work for you and for us. So we'll keep talking about that side of things. And I think it is, to be honest, all of you are, as far as I'm aware, including Hayley, you're all smashing it out as far as being in green and all that sort of thing as well. So, and even with, and there is some wins in terms of even with the chapters themselves growing and that sort of thing too. Just a reminder, make sure your gains sheet's up to date. And then the next thing, we haven't got any special guests this week, but we do have one already booked. So that's David Jennings. So he's booked for the 15th of March. So he's the guy that basically created and runs System Hub. So that's the process that we're able to refer to, that sort of thing. So he's going to come and have a chat to us about systems on the 15th. So if you haven't already, or you're not already connected, maybe look at David, or maybe I can do an intro to David like we've done before, and just thank him and say that we're looking forward to him coming on the 15th. And then you can look to maybe connect to David as well. And then I don't know if you saw this one, Ben, down below with Suzanne, but maybe you and I do that more as a 1-to-2, and maybe she just shares with us and we do that, and we sort of do a short recording from Suzanne.
So I got your message on Sunday about that, and I was like, all right, I'll have a look at this on Monday. I've already connected with her. And
you're already connected,
her.
Yeah. Cool.
I connected and messaged her and invited her to my BNI without knowing that she was one of the Miss BNIs in WA.
Yeah.
So
that's right. So that's good. That's all right. So you're already connected. So that's good to know. Yeah. She was just on one of the Business Booster series with Ivan Meisner. That was also so. Yeah, should be good to have a chat with. Anyway, the next thing is, what are we going to talk about today, Adrian?
This week we're going to be talking about your key to success.
Cool.
So if you're having to think about it, think about what's on your gain sheet as well.
Yeah. So that's usually the third point. I was saying to Adrian, often when we do this and we go through the PowerPoint, we forget to think about it for ourselves, and then we are underprepared when it comes to our 60 seconds. And in fact, I'm going to give myself an extra 15 seconds and you guys 15 seconds as well to consider who you might want a referral to, and maybe use that same referral that you're looking for in your BNI this week as well, which is often what I do. Oh, that's interesting. I have government listed down next. Yeah, maybe. Okay. All right, so I'll go to the next sheet. So, hi there all. My name is Steve Hubbard. I'm your DIFY Social Media Marketer in Footscray, Melbourne. I'm originally from Perth in Western Australia. And I would say that my key to success is basically do what you love, do what you're really good at, and do what you can ultimately be financially successful at. And I think I say there also get up early. I found particularly in COVID, getting up at 7 a.m. helped me a lot. My wins for the week were really pumped to have a new training organisation. So growth training program, which runs First Aid. They're coming on the week after next. And we've also got Sardi Cafe. So Hayley, thank you for pairing both those audits. And yeah, so we've got 2 new projects coming on. So that was definitely a great win for the week. And also I think just being able to, with Andy heading off, being able to know and with real confidence having people to be able to take on those projects as well. And so this week I'd really like an introduction to people in government. Having spent a lot of time in local government myself, often the first people we connect our businesses to is their local economic development officers. So if you know or you have a relationship with the local economic development person in your council, perhaps you could refer them my way. Steve Hubbard from DIFY Social.
I am a marketing graduate from VU and I'm your DIFY Social Media Marketer here in Footscray. My keys to success would be hard work and determination. So my wins for the week would be 2 new clients I'll be working on starting from this week. I would really like to work with and for trades. So I'm looking to connect with plumbers this week. Next up is Anthony.
And before we go to Anthony, I forgot, and I'm going to put it on this slide. Right. So last week was the first week I used, we want to work with businesses that are seeking tens of thousands more visibility from the communications in 2021 and hundreds and thousands of more engagement and traffic to websites. That should probably be the segue. In particular, we would like to speak. So you don't have to do that now, but if you're not ready for that, but if you could start getting that tens of thousands more reach and exposure for their business and hundreds and thousands more engagement and traffic to their website, that I think starts to really plant a good seed. As I said, in my chapter, normally they just share it amongst themselves who wins the best award. It's the first time I've used it, and they felt sorry for me because of consistency. I got given the award as well, just because of basically telling people why they should speak to us. Yeah? Does that make sense? Is that okay? Cool. Yep. No pressure, Anthony, by the way.
I'm a marketing graduate from La Trobe University, and I'm a DIFY social media marketer here in Epping, where I've lived, worked and played for the last 5 years. I'm originally from country Victoria. My key to success is confidence and always trying your best, and it doesn't hurt to ask questions. My wins for the week is getting a lot of clients handed over to me. So I'm excited for that. I'd really like to work with and for businesses who are sponsoring sporting clubs, and would like to get their business out to tens of thousands of more people. So this week I'm looking to connect with those businesses. Up next, Hayley.
You could decide how you frame this one, Hayley. Up to you.
Yeah, I know.
Outgoing.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Hayley, and I was your DIFY social media marketer here in Malvern. My key to success is just like believe in yourself and just like keep going. Take every opportunity that you can, kind of thing. My wins for the week are obviously about to start a new job, which is exciting. DIFY-wise, it was exciting to hear that growth training groups have come on, and then also Sadi Cafe. This week, I guess, will be my wrap-up week. So at BNI, hopefully maybe have a referral from Caleb to pass on to you guys as a parting gift, but we'll see. Up next is Emily.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Emily. I'm the marketing graduate from Rutgers University. I'm about to start my second year in my master's at Griffith. I'm your DIFY social media marketer here in Brisbane, Holland Park, where I've been for officially 1 year, and I've originally from New Jersey. My key to success has been to never stop learning. I think you can always learn new things, even if you don't like school, and it can never hurt you to be educated. So my wins for the week, I didn't have much going on last week because I unfortunately had a funeral on Monday and my BNI was shut because it was Australia Day. So it was nice to have a week off, I guess. But I'm looking forward to getting back into it tomorrow. I would really like to work with and for businesses in the content creation industry. Again, our chapter is definitely looking for photographers and videographers, and also anyone who's looking to increase their visibility by hundreds of thousands of views. So up next is Hannah.
Thanks, Emily. My name is Hannah, and I'm your marketing graduate from QUT, and I'm your DIFY social media marketer here in Brisbane, Queensland, where I've lived, worked, and played for 8 years. My key to success is letting passion and excitement drive you to do what you love, and same with what Kaylee said, sort of taking every opportunity that will help your growth. My wins for the week would be setting up Awards Australia. That went relatively good. What else? I think, that was probably the main thing that was fun. And
really
I've got a new client off Andy. And this week I would like to work with and for businesses in the racing industry, specifically who run fashions on the field. So this week I'm looking to connect with those who run that event. Next up is Ben.
Good morning. I am your marketing, advertising, and PR graduate from ECU. I'm your DIFY social media marketer here in Perth, Western Australia, where I've lived for the past 14 years. My key to success is say yes. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you can always learn along the way. My wins for the week. I had an extremely busy week last week. I went to 3 networking events and 2 sundowners, and ended up with a chat tomorrow with the bookkeeper about social media, a chat on Wednesday about social media to a cross-chapter business, and a setup session with Arbonne. And it was a good week last week. And this week I'm looking to work with and for tradies who wish to start to grow their social media presence by hundreds of thousands and wish to increase their traffic flow onto their websites by hundreds.
Awesome. Hey, I'm going to put it on. There's a lot of Australians getting on this business booster in the States, but I'll share it probably tomorrow on our social media. But this bloke that shares, he now lives in the States, and he's only a young guy, he'd be late 20s, if that. He talks all about tradies, Ben. So in fact, that's how I think he grew the business in the first instance, was working with tradies around their growth and particularly around sales. And some of those conversations we've had in terms of, often tradies, they go into business, they start as an apprentice, then they realize they're really good at what they do, and then they figure, okay, well, I'm going to start a business, and they generally they're good on the tools, but they're not good in their business, so they often really need that help, right? So it's a really good one. I'll share it, and it'll be one that maybe we can have a chat next week, because it's relevant not just around tradies, but with other stuff too. Cool. And way to go. I think the other thing is Ben's good testimony in terms of I've always found that it doesn't have to be full-on business networking or networking events to go to, right? So BNI is the only really one very structured, very formatted business that I would typically go to. There's other ones that are in my calendar, where it's the Footscray Traders. It's just a group of businesses where we go along, and pretty much it includes food and drink. There's a quarterly one that's run here, which again just includes food and drink. So the reality is those sort of networks, those opportunities do arise. It's just getting invites, and particularly when they're free and they involve catering, they're generally well and truly worth going to. I think. Would you concur, Ben?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Well, they're enjoyable, right? Because there's not really any, particularly.
It was nice going to a networking event and not having that sort of
actually networking with people.
Yeah, it was nice. The networking part, at the start of BNI where your networking part's probably 15 minutes.
Yeah.
To some extent. This one was like a good half an hour to 45 minutes before they even started to dig into stuff, which was nice. I got to have a good chat with probably a good 10, 15 people.
Yeah. And I think you sort of become better at that too. It's just about sort of getting to know people, right? It's not about sort of having to listen to them try and sell you something, or B, trying to sell them something, right? So it's just about having a conversation at times. So it's always good. Awesome. All right, Adrian.
Okay, so I liked Ben's key to success. So let's continue talking about him. Let's go, Emily. Do you know what Ben's key to success was?
Yeah, it was always say yes.
Opposite to my mother.
Yes, man.
Also, I apologize. I have a new foster cat. She doesn't know what personal space is.
Oh, yeah.
So she shows up. I'm sorry.
Just say yes to her, Emily.
Yeah, that's how it's going. Hey, bud.
Okay, so Ben, what was Hannah's win for the week?
I'm on the same sentiment as Emily at the moment, as my cat doesn't also know where personal space is. Hannah's win. Yeah, no, I've got mine on my lap right now. Hannah's win for the week was setting up Awards Australia and getting a new client off of Andy.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, and Hannah, who is Anthony looking to connect with?
People for sporting sponsorships. Sponsoring sporting clubs.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're going to use that the entire next few months, and I would almost recommend it. I think it's probably just keep using it until you figure like you can't be bothered saying that one anymore and you want to try something else. Awesome.
Okay, and Hayley, do you have any stretches that you can give us?
Me? Shivers. I'm not a gym goer, guys, but this one, back from the heyday of netball.
Oh yeah, that is a good one.
And then swap. And then you can go over your head. And then the other side. Ooh. And then you can shake it out.
Now would be, Hayley, it's your last chance to get us in a photo picture, I reckon, and you're pretty good.
Let me prepare myself.
Is there anything you'd like us to do? I was thinking with the cats we could do a Dr. Evil, but I don't know. Doesn't Dr. Evil have a cat? I think I'm right.
No,
All
I
right.
don't know who Dr. Eve is.
Yes, you
Austin.
do.
What are we doing?
I'm going to wave to Haley just because I'm going to say thank you, Haley. Bye, Haley.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let me check it. Let me check it out.
Your eye, check it if the eyes are open.
Yeah, everyone was smiling. Nice one.
All right. And now you might notice, or you don't notice because I'm not showing screen, slight difference. We've had our stretch. We've taken our picture. And now just take a couple of minutes. I'm going to make a coffee. We're just going to have a break. Anybody want to make a coffee in between? Just take a time.
That sounds absolutely fantastic.
Stretch and coffee, I think, is a great innovation. So if that's okay, so let's just take a minute to do that. All right, and then we'll get back in the room, and yeah, in 3 minutes' time, if that's okay.
Just us, Hannah.
Yeah, I'm just going to do stuff while they're all doing that.
Yeah. I'm going to get something to eat. I'm starving.
How's how far is the beach from you?
You can get to like the Gold Coast Burleigh in an hour, or you can go up the Sunshine Coast in like an hour and a half.
Oh, okay, so
So not like Melbourne, but like when you get there, the beaches are really nice.
really nice.
Yeah, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, for a really nice beach for me, it's an hour and a half too. It's sort of the same. Like I could go to St Kilda, which is like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Or Albert Park or whatever, but yeah.
What's the one that you get to in an hour and a half?
Rosebud, McRae.
Oh yeah, very nice. Yeah. So it's just worth going there then.
Yeah, 100%. How's your neck, Adrian?
Yeah, it took like 5 or 6 days to actually recover.
Yeah.
It's good now.
A bit of physio cream, Voltaren.
Yeah, a bit of that. I got someone to work on it to sort of loosen it out, which helped.
Nice. Good.
What happened to your neck, Adrian? Did you?
I just tweaked it last week. So last Monday, I just woke up and had a little bit of a spasm.
Oh no!
There was just a bit sort of limited movement, a bit sore and stuff. So
yeah, I've hurt my back sneezing. I was like out for like a week. Just one sneeze just made me like a cripple. It was awful.
Yeah, it's terrible. You can't really move properly.
Yeah. That's right. You couldn't check your blind spots in your car.
I could turn enough to see the mirror, so that was great.
Just hope for the best. How's the new apartment or place you're at?
It's good.
Do you like it better?
It's definitely better.
Yeah.
I prefer it's a lot better. It's a lot closer to the city as well. 5 minutes walk to the train station now, so it's easy to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't want to drive.
Yeah. Yeah. Are they going to have open footy matches this year?
I think they're still deciding.
Yeah, because the A Leagues, people can go to the A League.
I think they're going to. It's going to be limited crowds, of course.
Yeah.
But
Because I was really excited to go last year. Yeah, next minute.
yeah, I normally go to quite a few football matches.
Yeah. How often do the Eagles play here? Only probably 3 times a year, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But my brother used to work for Fox Footy, so
Oh,
sometimes
cool.
he would get like the corporate box,
Yeah.
like free tickets to the corporate box. So that
Yeah.
was so good to see at the MCG. It's like sort of the best
Yeah.
place you can see it.
Yeah. They bring out party pies there and stuff, don't they?
No, because they're not catering it. Because they're just giving it away tickets to the employees. They weren't catering
right.
it. So
Yeah.
Okay. All barring Ben back in the room. Does anybody else have capacity to make coffee? As in a Nespresso machine? You got yours, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Got the Aldi one.
The Aldi one.
Yeah, it's unreal.
The machines are awesome. Exactly.
Purely just because the coffee boxes are Italian places.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, I think the thing is half of it is in the branding. So if you feel like you're getting, I don't know about you, I consider myself a coffee snob, but the reality is, if it's froth milk, good enough.
Yeah.
So I think it's you go to too many different where you get so much variation on the coffee anyway, right? So, what do you reckon, Adrian? You'd like your coffee, I reckon.
yeah, I got an espresso.
You got the Nespresso as well?
Yeah. But I got to cut back my caffeine, so I can't have too much caffeine anyway now.
Yeah. Actually, we were. That's what we did do. We were down doing the rock climbing underneath the bridge near where you now live. I told Oliver that's where Adrian's living again now.
Oh yeah, just on the water there.
Yeah. So it's good, that little spot. I think they'd taken them all off while COVID was happening. So maybe is Ben gone off to get himself tested? Maybe,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how today's photo turned. Here he comes now. I did tell. I think Anthony was in the room, but at one stage Oliver was looking, and Hannah's heard this, and so has Anthony. But I can't remember. I did one of the posts with the pictures, and it was the post where Hannah was actually right in the middle of the post. And at night time we were talking about, I don't know how it got onto it, right? Somehow we were talking about who I know that he knows, and he doesn't know everybody that I know. And then I said, "Oh, you do know some of the DIFY marketers?" He goes, "Yeah, and I know Tony. I know Tony. He's a new client that had come on that he'd seen on Whereby." And then and I said, "Oh yeah, know some of the DIFY marketers." I said, "You know Adrian?" He said, "Yeah, I know Adrian, and I know Hannah. She's beautiful."
Aww.
So he'd seen a picture, I think, because he'd seen one of the pictures where Hannah was in the middle. So anyway, there you go. I did tell Hannah that. I didn't ask for permission to share it again, so apologies there, Hannah.
Oh, I don't mind.
I think we already talked about this. I really like the idea that we're kind of all trailblazing, right? So I've said to you guys, as far as I know, and it's probably one of those useful beliefs, but as far as I know, there's no other social media marketing consultancies that are scaling, right? At least not in our space, right? So there's no one that's trying to scale like we're trying to scale. And I don't know how or why I even thought to Google what trailblazer means. But as soon as I saw this, I was like, shit, this is awesome. Trailblazer, a pioneer, an innovator, a lifelong learner, a mover and shaker, right? And I think you'd all agree within our BNIs, we represent that, right? 2, a leader who leaves a path for others to follow, right? So that's what we're all trying to do. You know, you hear about legacy, right? Everybody wants to create something that's going to have some meaning ultimately, yeah? And then most importantly, and I guess this isn't just B1G1, but it's kind of what we talk about, right? Is that like have fun and do good, builds a better world for others, right? Who'd have thought? I didn't realize that's what the definition of trailblazer was, that it had a 3-point definition. But it certainly makes me feel really good about what we're doing, and I think you guys should feel really good. And in a way, the survivor picture kind of helps resonate there a little bit as well, right? We are trailblazing within BNI. It's not easy. We're trailblazing within business networks, but we're trailblazing within our industry, right? Because let's face it, small businesses need our services, but not too many people have worked out how to actually deliver it other than just work for one business or do it freelance, right? So we're trailblazing a path here, for that hopefully enables us to do that whole have fun, do good thing. Anyway, I think that's a good way of framing the one TED Talk. So I don't know if you guys, the easy way for you to sort of follow, we did talk about this in our previous one, state of plays, in terms of get together and just talking and staying learning. But in actual fact, then the TED Talk last week. So just so you know, I don't know if you guys go to this page often, right? This page. But on under COVID, right, is I keep the update. If you guys are aware of that, I don't know if you ever go in there, but if you ever want to sort of see where our so clearly ever since COVID started, it's almost like our post journal. Right, it's what have we done in terms of to try and help ourselves and to help the people we're working with to get through COVID. So that's why we have a COVID tab, and part of that is sort of what we're sharing about, right? And so often, I think I've said to you guys before, often when I'm sharing, it's because I think it's relevant to me and to you and to our business networks, and so that's what I'd kind of like to talk to you in these sort of sessions and get your feedback on, right? So this is where you can find them, including the Trailblazer definition. But have you guys had a chance to have a listen to particularly this How to Get Better TED Talk? Have anybody seen that before?
Yeah, that was a good TED Talk. I liked it, actually.
Yeah. And so does anybody hasn't listened to that one yet?
Yeah, I only read the articles so far. I haven't watched
it.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet either.
So the gist of it, and as I said, you can easily go and find it here or on our Facebook page. So this one here, right? It's working hard but not improving. So if you click on that, hopefully it should open in a new tab. You'll find the post, and then you'll find the talk, right? So you can click on this, and that's just a YouTube video, yeah? But the reason I took this quote, and I can actually, if I put my nose to the screen, I can read this, but you guys can't. But this slide actually kind of highlights, right, what he's talking about. He talks about learning zone versus performing zone, right? So clearly when we're students, we spend time learning until we get to the performance time when we actually have to hand in an assignment or we have to do an exam, right? When you're working, that doesn't tend to happen, right? You tend to get thrust upon, here you go, Anthony, here's 3 more projects for you to sort of work on, where you kind of just have to perform, right? There's an element, there's that expectation in most workplaces that you're just going to perform without necessarily continuing to learn. So I want to use this sort of part of our all-ins is just to recognize that we all need to keep learning. I love the fact that Emily, albeit that she did use the community one today, her key to success, and she's always raised this. I think your mum's a librarian, right?
Yes,
Emily?
she is.
Yeah. So, but learning is often a key to success, right? Particularly if you're continually learning. So all of you know the importance of that, right? But I want us to feel like we're going to continue to learn together because we don't know it all, right? So, but anyway, it talks about learning zone. So the goal of the learning zone is to improve, right? The activations are improvements and concentrate on what you haven't mastered yet, right? The mistakes, and mistakes, the key thing is mistakes are expected when you're in the learning zone, right? So in other words, when you were initially doing, in Anthony and Hannah's case where they've got DIFY Social Sport and DIFY Social Fashions, I didn't expect those to be perfect initially in terms of, the post that you might do, that sort of thing, right? Similarly with Melbourne, when Adrian's posting across there, or even to a degree, even with our clients, I expect almost there's an element that the post will probably get better as you get in a routine and you can kind of see, what the looks like, and sometimes we get feedback. Would it be fair to say from our clients?
Yeah.
What they prefer. Emily, you had on the weekend, right? So
Yeah.
around testimony, which you always know, right? So actually a good point. So when we do, that's not a mistake that Emily made here, right? So basically just,
Right.
so let's frame this in that there was a testimony that was shared, but it wasn't necessarily the image that was the best image that could have gone with the testimony. Correct, Emily?
Right.
That's what they were saying, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he essentially had sent me pictures over the weekend and said, you can use these for social media. So I attached them to a testimony, and it was not that client. And he said that he didn't like that, but then he went back and sent me testimonies to go with videos specifically so that we didn't have that issue again.
So in actual fact, it's a good example of, where it's not a mistake, but again, there is room for movement here, right? So we've got good enough relationship with the clients that they can tell us, that's not exactly what we're wanting. Can you make us do slightly differently? And then often our language should be great. If you can help us help you by giving us the right photo with the right testimony, for instance, giving us the right photo for the right bit of content that we're sharing from the website, So that's a really good example. Similarly, early days with Roy and out there branding, right? We had a specific meeting with Roy because Roy wanted to check with Hootsuite, right? Now Roy rang me last week and he says, he wants to have a chat around this year, but the reality is what you post is brilliant. You guys are doing brilliant, right? That's the feedback. Realistically, I just want to check, is there anything that we need to do? I stopped, he realized he didn't need to check anymore, right? Because he was happy with what's being posted. But it's having those sort of relationships to people understand and that they can ask, how can I help you to do a better job with my social media perhaps, right? You guys know that often my response to that is, well, to help yourself, it's often around, the stuff we put in the reports, how you engage with the social media yourself. It might be spending more money on ads, but generally speaking, there's all sorts of little things they can do. Hannah, we spoke to them with the Awards Australia, didn't we, last week around what they would be able to do to help spread the message further and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So in any case, that language of you need to help us help you is often something that people don't necessarily say, but we should have the confidence with our clients that we could do that. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about with in this particular thing. It would be great if you could have a look at these. Have people read the Facebook article, this Stats That Matter, by any chance? You had a look at that one?
Yeah.
So what do you reckon?
So
what do you reckon the advantages? I think, without me saying, but Anthony, you've had a read. What's the advantage of having a read of that sort of article, right? What did you take from that?
Oh, it gives you an insight of the Instagram's algorithm, how they work, and all the other little bits and pieces. It just sort of gives you little tips and all that on what you can do. I can't really think anything off the top of my head, but
I think Emily said to me, Emily said she had a read, but maybe if you can't think off the top of the head, because it's maybe a bit like Emily kind of said, I think we're doing most of these, right? In terms of that sense of, but there's always stuff I read in there and you don't even know what subconsciously you might pick up on that, right? Because there's actually 47 listed, right, in that Facebook stats.
Oh, actually, the one I remember, I've got it up now, how they removed 3.7 million pieces of copyright trademark infringements in half a year or something like that.
Wow, yeah.
I was like, that's pretty insane.
And realistically, I think the other thing that we know that Facebook, because this was called Facebook Stats That Matter for Marketers, right? So for all of our businesses and the clients we work with, and even our business network, that's what we are. Right? We're marketers that happen to use social media, so that when they come to you with questions along the lines of, when do you think there's a best time to post? I think most of you would have an answer to that nowadays, right? Would that be fair to say? Ben, if someone asks you now, when should I post? What would you typically say to them?
Morning, lunchtime, or dinner.
Yeah.
The general consent,
And one of the reasons for that is because a lot of these stats come from brands and companies, right? So they're just kind of basic, obvious, typical stats, right? Is that we're going to read it before we start work, on a lunch break and after we finish work, typically. The reason Facebook stats, particularly from ads perspective, went through the roof during COVID is because so many more people were at home and not at work, right? So we saw that in all of our reporting. We're getting double the result on most of our reporting, right? So anyway, so it's just so that you can, it's not that really that we go that you could rabbit 46 or 47 stats that matter on Facebook. It's more just the fact that you sort of read that and you take it in a little bit and go, oh yeah, I know a little bit more now that other people don't know. It's as simple as that, right? Because people expect you to know certain things. And sometimes the other thing is, well, you might go, I don't know, but I might be able to find that up. I could find that out for you. That's an interesting question you give me.
Yes.
You know, I could probably go and look that up, right? So yeah, what we do know with those two things, Facebook's algorithm organic is shit. We just know that. 10% in Australia if we're lucky, depending on whether you're entertaining or not. You might get slightly higher. It depends on how often you post, right? Instagram algorithm, much better. 30 to 40% might see it, but the problem is they're probably not reading the post. They're probably just seeing the picture and then hearting it, and that's it. So not necessarily great. But we know that Facebook ads, once you spend $1, it's pretty generous, realistically, compared to most other. And it's Haley will be able to concur, and maybe Haley can come back to us in future. But compared to most other traditional ad spends, we're not talking about spending a fortune. Facebook's given small business the capacity to play the game, where they couldn't really play the game with radio, even most other traditional media spends. It was difficult for them because it was not affordable. And so then the other one I think we spoke about having a listen to was that Garage to Global. Did people have a chance to have a listen to that?
No, I didn't.
I listened to a bit of, I listened to it and I just noted some of it down. One thing he said was write everything down like you're a franchise, so that you've got, like you would probably relate to that, Steve, like everything, like you're following a structure for everything and can refer back to it.
Yeah. Do you remember what's the thing that he talks about where it's is it ignorance on fire is greater than knowledge on ice? Do you remember that one? That quote? Is that right, Haley? You're nodding your head. If you heard?
Yeah, that's the quote.
Yeah, ignorance on fire is greater than knowledge on ice. What do you reckon that means? I think we're all testament to it, right? Is that basically, and Hannah, you said it's your key to success. It's like living your passion, so, being passionate. That's what that means, basically. Ignorance on fire, you can always learn stuff. But if you're passionate and you want to learn stuff and you're keen to do it and grow, then you'll learn it, right? And ultimately you'll have that knowledge rather than someone that sort of has the knowledge, but maybe, again, in terms of what that means from the other way around but don't share it maybe in the way that, I think the context was almost from an interview perspective. In fact, there was some, but anyway, it's around that sort of the capacity. You can have the knowledge, and in terms of who you take on. So in actual fact, that's right. So it was talking about you're better off hiring people that you can work with and learn with that are passionate than those people that come thinking they already have the knowledge, right? Does that make sense? So we were all going through that process together, right? So in terms of you guys are all marketing strategists. You've learned marketing strategy, right? So we're just applying it in a particular way. I often sort of say, and just as an organisation, just on Hannah's point, did you guys with your marketing, was the last subject you had to do? Did you have to do a strategic marketing subject? Do you remember doing a strategic marketing one? It was our last one in Masters. Ben, I can see you're about to speak. Maybe.
I think it was. It was talking. My last marketing one was marketing strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what you focused on around that? Do you remember?
My one was focused on franchising. Yeah,
good focus. But do you remember? Yeah. So the reason I ask it because when we did it, we had to. Actually, you guys, because if this was state of play, you don't have to be unless you're coughing or drinking or whatever. You don't have to be on mute. because as I said, it's kind of, I'd rather this be interactive. But when we did it, we had to, I think, determine an organisation and look at what their main P was. What was their main strategy? Was it focused on promotions? Was it focused on a pricing strategy? Was it focused on what do we call the delivery one? What's the P for place? Place? Yeah. And then we got our other one is, what have I left off? Price, place, promotion. What's the fourth P?
Promotion.
People?
Product.
Yeah, product. And then there's 7 Ps when it comes. Hannah, you're not wrong, because then there's 7 Ps when you get to service base, right? Your people, your whatever they call the one where you're actually branding yourself, and out there it's the asset. So again, it's having things on cars and physical asset or something along those lines. Physical.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, I think it's physical. Yeah.
And then the 7th P, we'll have to Google.
Process.
But what one?
Process.
Perfect. We should know those 7 Ps, right?
You should probably edit this next part, because it's going to make us look like we didn't study at uni. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, that's all right. But what was my point? So, in actual fact, knowing those 7 Ps, right? Because we're a service-based business that happens to have products as a, products as a service, right? But for our business, what do you think our key strategy is?
Is it not price?
I think it's price.
Price, you reckon?
Yeah, I think we have a competitive price.
Think about, you know what I would say? I reckon our number one strategy from a marketing perspective is place.
Distribution?
Because, and I don't know if I'm even right, I don't know if my thinking around this is even correct, but hear me out. My thinking is, because we are acting as a multi-outlet business with consultants across Australia, we're hard to compete on that basis, right? Because we've got social media marketer in Perth, we've got social media marketers up in Brisbane, we've got social media marketers with a particular process and model, probably that's the other thing, that is being applied. That makes it harder to compete with, if from a because those P's is, in other words, what's the P that gives you competitive advantage, the unfair advantage. The other one I often say to you guys, right, is our people, because we don't hire non-marketers, right? I don't do that because I want to because I want to rule them out. I do it because I think the best people to do this job is marketers. That's unfair. Would you agree? In terms of our competition, it's unfair because, when we go to other B&I chapters or we hear people doing social media, are they marketers?
No. Not
usually. Often they're more likely to be photographers or something else, right? So I don't know. They're not necessarily. You'd be interested in, even in South Australia, which has the biggest presence from a social media, is the AOK or whatever they're called, that one. They're more digital, but I don't think they're marketers, So again, our unfair advantage is we're across Australia and we're marketers and our people, right? So our distribution and again, you can add the P's, but in terms of if you were to rank them, it might be a fun exercise for us to do for next time. And we'll talk about what we think our 7 out of the 7 that Anthony put in the chat. What do you think the hierarchy is for us in our business? Yeah. Anyway, have a listen to that one. Clearly, we're all operating from effectively a home office, at the moment. So clearly, global to garage to global. Hannah, you had a listen. Did you find that it sort of, even though yes, it clearly resonates for me, but for you, how do you find? Did it resonate for you as well?
Yeah, a little bit. I sort of took it as, him talking about how he scaled, B&I as well, I was relating it to that.
Yeah. And scaling.
Yeah.
Cool. Did you listen to that one? The one, if you listen to none other, listen to the culture one, because basically garage to go. Oh, sorry, maybe that's a different. That's what I've got to probably put up for us for next week. When you first go in there, I think I was speaking to Ben we were talking about it. He does. It's actually the first thing in the BNI University. He goes through the 7. Is it the 7 core values of BNI? Listen to that one because all of his best stuff is in there. I realize now that he basically just chunks out of that 7 values and then he uses it in other podcasts at times. So have a listen to that. It was quite. Yeah, I found that really good, particularly around the sort of culture side of things.
Steve, sorry, I did forgot that the time changed and I've got to run to a 1-to-1. Do you mind if I quickly jump off?
No worries. We're
sorry
just
about that.
now.
I forgot, and I've told him I'll be there at 10:45.
Oh yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah,
No worries.
but I'll know now that we're extending the meeting.
Yep.
Have a good week, guys. I'll see you Wednesday, Steve.
Bye. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks. I'm looking at my timing here. Anyway, I'm probably done from there. We've talked about traffic lights, so we don't need to talk about that. Is that okay by people in terms of talk about the learning each week? Sound good?
Yep.
Cool. And so you'll know where to find those, and I'll try and list those in advance. We've talked about this stuff, so I don't think we need to talk about that. We probably don't need to talk about systems and that sort of stuff today. All I've got on here for us to remind Emily is that you and I are going to visit New Jersey while we can.
Yeah.
At some point.
I've got to try her again.
The other thing is what I realised on Friday, because Anthony and I were kind of doing a bit of project play in terms of some catch-up project. Firstly, if we've got things to do, that's probably hours that you can be, being paid for, where we need to spend some time, Anthony. We've got Friday afternoon or others. If there's times that we need to do certain things and we need to get together, actually work on different things, then Friday afternoons often could be a time that we might be able to do that, which would mean sort of lunchtime for you, Ben. But also then it sort of lends itself to doing it where we're it's the end of the week sort of debrief, right? So, so from 4:00, I'll be on there if people want to use it in that way as well. And the only other thing, I'll say it to all of you so I don't forget, but if you haven't already got your coin, I'd suggest you just speak to Melissa about getting your ABN and having coin so that you have that capability to receive and have a coin wallet. I'm starting to hear people saying they'd rather receive, not marketers, but I'm hearing clients saying they'd rather receive coin than cash. And so I don't know if Anthony's tested it now, but I know Hannah, I think, has, in terms of we can take that money out of our wallet pretty easily now. So, and it is growing. So if you haven't already got it, jump onto Coin. And now I know I've told everybody to, and Melissa can get your ABN sorted if you've not got that. And she can also make sure that your merchant site is up there as well. So I think really probably around that, Adrian, I'll let you go around the room. Hayley, did you want to, rather than catch up, does it suit you to catch up when we would have caught up on Wednesday? Would you prefer to catch up earlier just so that we can, so before you go to BNI tomorrow, is there a time that would suit you?
Yeah, that's fine. Do I have to do, who tells BNI? Like, do I just rock up and I'm like...
Oh no, that's what I think we'll talk about. That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's why I think it's better that we do the BNI. I think my suggestion, because you've been a member, I would basically send an email just to probably the President Callum, just to say, hi Callum, just letting you know, and I've advised Steve that I've got this opportunity, pretty much similar to mine, right? Just to say I've got this opportunity, so I will be coming along this time. But we'll talk about that, I think. But the approach is just as you said, it's the adult approach that basically says I'm moving on, and so that will mean there's ramifications for BNI that Steve will, that we'll work with the committee to work out what we do next, sort of thing.
Right. So do you? Okay. When you?
So let's just So, well, what I was wondering is, so if you wanted to, we could do it at sort of 12:30 today, or this afternoon, if there's some time this afternoon, or tomorrow. I've got relatively good timing tomorrow, even if it was the time that we would have done Wednesday.
Today's fine.
Today's fine.
Yeah, what time do you want to do? Like 12?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 12 o'clock's fine. Yep, we can do 12.
All right, cool.
Just sounds good. Awesome.
So
Adrian, what's happening with you this week? Anything?
I've got a couple new clients I need to start working on today. I've got a meeting with one of our clients on Wednesday with you, Steve. I've got my first one-to-one in person. I think it was on Thursday. So I've got that to do, and I've got reporting to do as well this week. So I'll try and get that done by Wednesday. So I think that's it for this week. Let's go. Emily, what do you have on this week?
My BNI, we had off last week for the holiday, so we'll be back tomorrow. I'm excited. We are also going to meet in person tomorrow, which is great. I have a couple people I want to ask about one-to-ones this week, and I'll do that tomorrow while I'm at the meeting. And then Steve, I'm not entirely sure what Sally's saying about Lim Live, so maybe we could on Wednesday just chat about that.
Yeah, I think she's basically giving us. She doesn't want to use that video. She just wants to. She wants to use something else other than that video for the. You know how I mentioned. Anyway, yeah, we can. Yeah.
So anyway, I was going to do ads for them, but now I'll wait until we talk about it.
So those ads are going, but it's only that one, isn't it? So
I have 2 more I was supposed to do, but I'll wait that out.
Yeah, the copy and paste. Yeah, that's right. So maybe even today I might just touch base with you on LinkedIn or something along those lines.
Okay,
that's
fine.
We'll work it out. Yeah,
I'm free.
Good idea.
Sounds good.
Okay, Ben.
I'm in lockdown. So,
yeah. What's going to happen with your BNI this week, do you think?
I currently am finding that out. I have posted in terms of, do we pause the breakfast payment for this week and then boost it back up next week? What do we do? Is it going to be online? So I'm finding all that out now. I know I'm not at work at retail. I know we're in lockdown till Friday, and then, which is not a problem for me because I only work today and then I work Saturdays and Sundays. So hopefully I'll be back at work and I actually get a paycheck next week.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of BNI and projects, I'm going to be sending off a couple of messages and emails now. One to Denise to figure out if she still wants to have a chat tomorrow about social media. One to the agricultural business planner to see if he wants to just do our chat via Zoom. And one to Carlton to figure out if he's still green light to set up this for this Thursday.
Yeah. With Carlton, just send me a message if we need to put up the project and that side of things too on Basecamp. That's all.
Yeah, we'll do. Other than that, I think that's it for it. I'm gonna be stuck at home.
Sorry about it.
It's a big fad.
Yeah.
Ben, we had to pay our breakfast fee when we were in lockdown, so I'm thinking you probably will too.
What, really?
Yeah.
Like you still have to pay breakfast fee even though you weren't going to get the breakfast?
Yep.
That's some.
It may be.
Yeah. I'm bitter. About it.
It's a bit like because then what they use it for is it's in lieu of a marketing fund. So that's often they put $5 and $10 more on top of that weekly just to help the marketing and promote. But particularly if you only get locked down for 1 week.
Isn't it because they still have to pay their rent for whatever room you hire?
Yeah.
That was ours. That they had negotiated a 12-month contract and still had to pay for
apparently with my one, they when we went into lockdown last year, April, BNI our chapter just reduced it to $8.
Yeah.
For a week, so it might be a case where it just drops down again.
That might happen.
I'm finding that one out currently. Other than that, everything is just dandy. Everything is just dandy.
Okay, Anthony, is everything dandy with you?
I just got a question for Steve. So I'm posting Alpha Click, BuzzMe, Go Promote, and Conveyancing Labs and MCW.
Yeah, maybe what we could do, in fact, we might finish up doing this, is that you might take a Monday slot in terms of our one-to-one, because now with managing those. So yeah, I'll, Haley and I'll talk at 12. Maybe, are you around today? Have you got work today?
I do at 4 o'clock.
So but basically, I'm just thinking once I'm off, Haley and I are done, maybe you can jump on, even if we made it sort of for 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Have lunch and.
Well, the other thing is, you could just double check. You can access everything that you need to access today, and then we can just talk through those. So I can make sure you're on your way.
Yeah.
Cool. Even with Adrian, there's a couple of things I needed to fix. So.
All right. See you at 1 o'clock then.
That sounds good. Good idea.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay, and Haley, if there's anything else?
No, nothing. I've done my scheduling for the week, and then it's just wrapping up some things.
Do you want to template the report for whoever finishes? I think Anthony's going to do it. Would that be okay, Haley? Would you? Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second. I'll ask you that then. What am I thinking? There we go.
Oh, yeah, and just reporting. Yeah.
Yeah. I reckon I can stop